So hello everyone and welcome to this luncheon presentation. Every year I so enjoy looking out into this lunch audience and also knowing we are recognizing outstanding individuals for both business and scientific achievement, which will be coming up shortly. I also want to thank Mary for the swag that is on your table. Grab that at the end, that's for you to take. So I would first like to introduce BioForward's Board of Directors Chair, Nicholas Paris, CEO of Gilson, to come up and welcome all of you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Lisa and I, each time at this year, we're known as the party crashers because we're going to tell a lot of things. The only thing you want to do is eating. So I will be short. I've got 3 insights here, if I can put that slide on. The 2 first are to thank the people behind Bioforward. First, the Bioforward team. So Bioforward is Lisa. We have a very charismatic Lisa, but there's a whole team behind Lisa, and the team is able to put together that kind of event, and they're putting together that kind of event many times a year. So I would like a round of applause to the fantastic Bioforward team. Second is to the board of Bioforward that I've the privilege to chair again this year. It's a board of brilliant individuals representing the whole industry. And people are not just like sitting here and waiting for things to happen. They're really guiding Bioforward, and they're giving the direction, and they make a significant contribution. All you've heard about the Tech Hub has been really taken in charge as well by the few members of the board. And for that, I'm very proud and honored to chair the board, and a round of applause to the board of Bioforward. And a last word about the word. So I'm the chair of Bioforward. I like it. I don't like the word chair because I can't sit. It's not impossible. So I don't sit too long, and my role at Bioforward is also to put the industry and the state on the international scene, as you can hear from my pure Wisconsinite accent. I travel a lot. I meet a lot of people, high-profile people throughout the world, and every time my job and my duty and my passion is to set Wisconsin on the global scene, to let people know there's something between East Coast and West Coast that you can land and thrive. So, and each time, let me tell you that it works. It works. Once people discover what we have here in Wisconsin, that's a revelation for all of them. So the word here is very simple. If I can do it, you can do it. You all work for international companies. You all work for within international projects. So please be proud. Be proud of our state. Be proud of our industry. I don't want to hear anymore the hidden jewel that is Wisconsin and its industry. Wave it, as Lisa said. Wave it and say it loud everywhere in your company and throughout the world. We are a tech hub. We are a place to be and a place to grow. So that's my word on international thing, and you'll see that hopefully next year the summit will have some international flavor because we are able now to start attracting those. Having that said, I'm happy and honored today to introduce David Gatz from CZ Strategy, who is going to introduce the awards today. Thank you very much.
What a gorgeous day. So glad that you're here today. My name is Dave Getz, and I am the president of CZ Strategy. We are a brand marketing and marketing services organization. And for the last 23 years, we worked in the healthcare, especially the healthcare tech space, serving clients. I have a personal connection to the theme today, which is personalized medicine. My brother is a translational researcher at Mayo Clinic in Rochester, and he co-leads women's cancer there and runs a lab. And one thing I've observed through the years in being certainly a lay person, not knowing anything about really what he does and having to ask him, but at our family gatherings and our long road trips, is just the long grinding nature of science. It's just a slow process, clinical trial after clinical trial. I've watched him come home at 6 o'clock and then go back to work at 8 o'clock until 2 a.m. to write. Took him a year to write the SPORE grant and do that for an entire year. I've watched the celebrations of landing those grants. I've watched just the incredible grind of the work of science, and yet how incredibly important it is. So it's really an honor to me. It's really a long obedience in the same direction, the work of science. And so I just want to say today what an honor it is to be here and to be part of the BioForward community, and to say it's a great time to be alive, and it's a great time because of all the work that each of you do. So thank you very much.
I'm still on the, did it go to the business one? I can't see. All right. And now, it is an honor to recognize outstanding achievement in business and scientific research with our 2 awards, the 2023 Wisconsin Biohealth Business Achievement Award and the 2023 Hector F. DeLuca Scientific Achievement Award. These awards are presented to individuals who have a history of leadership, ingenuity, collaborative spirit, resulting in major contributions to their organizations, to Wisconsin's biohealth industry, and impacting healthcare for all. We are now in our 9th year of these awards, and these are handcrafted awards by Tim Killinger of Mount Horeb, who created these beautiful awards. I always like to point to them every year because they are really gorgeous. He can't be here with us today, but we truly appreciate his passion, his craftsmanship, and his pride that goes into these awards. As you were seeing the slide go through these last 9 years of past business achievement awardees, we have had many amazing individuals that have been honored, and now this year, a new person is added, Chris Misko, President and CEO of Versity. Chris has a long history in healthcare, helping patients throughout the world. What I also enjoyed knowing about Chris is he was a 3-year starter for the Butler basketball team and an academic All-American. So my son graduated from Butler. He didn't play basketball, but we had fun talking about Butler. It is an awesome school. Okay, and I know it's not in Wisconsin, but it is an awesome school. And I still, to this day, I have this raggy Butler basketball T-shirt because it was such a great program. They slid a little bit. Don't listen, Chris. But it's such a great program, and the only time I won't cheer for them is when you're going up against the Wisconsin Badgers. But other than that, or Marquette, sorry, and also Marquette. So, but it is a really honor to have you be receiving this award. So let's hear more about Chris from someone who, he's way down here, who knows him well. I'd like to introduce Tony Watkins, who will be presenting the 2023 Wisconsin Business Achievement Award.
Thank you, Lisa. I am a former Badger, so hopefully it's a pleasure to be here at this wonderful event today. And I'm honored to introduce the recipient of this year's Wisconsin Biohealth Business Achievement Award, Chris Misko, who's the CEO at Versity. I've known Chris for over 20 years, as we've worked together at 3 separate organizations. This hasn't always been intentional, but our shared values draw us to organizations that are committed to innovation, improving healthcare outcomes, and developing people to be their best. Prior to joining Versity in 2017, Chris had already held a variety of healthcare senior leadership roles. After graduating from Butler, as Lisa indicated, and being named an academic All-American in basketball, Chris joined Eli Lilly, working his way up from financial analyst to general manager, Australia and New Zealand, while earning his MBA from Harvard along the way. After leaving Lilly, Chris joined Baxter Healthcare's bioscience business, eventually becoming Group Vice President and Immunology Franchise Head, running a $2.5 billion global biopharmaceutical franchise. According to Jacques Leonardi, one of Chris's mentors, one of the big reasons for Chris's success is that he always kept what was best for the patient foremost in mind and regularly reminded others as well. I had already been at Versity for 3 years when Dale Kent, our board chair at the time, asked me for my thoughts on Chris as CEO. I wholeheartedly recommended him. Not that it mattered much, as Dale was already raving about Chris's business acumen and vision. Chris's six-year tenure as Versity CEO has been marked by tremendous growth and innovation, building on a legacy started in 1947 when the Junior League of Milwaukee founded a blood center to provide the city a safe and sustainable blood supply. Headquartered in Milwaukee, Versity is a blood health organization that is unique among blood centers in the U.S. by providing a diversity of healthcare services across 5 distinct service lines. From research, clinical care, and diagnostic testing, to the sharing of life-saving gifts through blood, organ, and tissue donation, Versity's collective efforts result in better health care for our communities. Chris regularly acknowledges the legacy of the strong leaders and board members who have come before him. He has honored that legacy by taking what they built and making it even stronger. Under Chris's strategic guidance, Versity has witnessed significant growth, from $283 million in revenue in 2017 to nearly $400 million in 2022, and from approximately 1,800 employees then to over 2,400 employees today. Chris has expanded Versity's reach with patients, donors, and customers, and he has substantially grown Versity's impact in our communities. There are 3 themes I'd like to share that I think illustrate Chris's success as Versity CEO. First, Chris has an unrelenting focus on growing Versity's science and medicine impact to save more lives. Chris's commitment to research and innovation is best exemplified by the recent announcement of a building expansion for the Versity Blood Research Institute in Wauwatosa, for which the state of Wisconsin has already committed $10 million in grant funding. The VBRI is already the 3rd largest recipient of NIH grants in the state of Wisconsin, behind only UW-Madison and the Medical College of Wisconsin, and this expansion will allow the Institute to grow significantly, advancing research in areas like hematology, transplantation, transfusion medicine, and immunology, and creating over 100 high-value research jobs right here in Wisconsin. Second, Chris sincerely believes that Versity can have a disproportionately positive impact on the communities we serve. One of Chris's most ambitious ideas to do this is still in progress. In 2024, Versity is set to open a first of its kind combined blood center and community resource center on Milwaukee's near north side that will provide employment, job skill training, healthcare resources, and education about diseases that disproportionately affect communities of color. Through advocacy and community outreach, Chris aims to establish Versity as a trusted resource and agent of change for traditionally underserved patients and donors. Third, Chris has a firm belief in the power of team to accomplish great things. In preparing this introduction, I spoke with multiple individuals who have worked closely with Chris over his career. Without exception, they shared similar stories about Chris's leadership. He inspires and creates a shared sense of purpose for the whole organization. He pushes people out of their comfort zone to broaden their capabilities. He doesn't compromise or accept less than people's best, and he engages and empowers leaders at all levels of the organization. Chris is very smart and analytical, but he leads with heart. and understands what motivates people. Adversity, Chris's leadership stamp is felt throughout the organization. Without fail, employees at all levels see Chris as an advocate for all of Versity's employees, volunteers, and donors, not just leadership. Nicole Miller, who's currently Chris's chief of staff, says of Chris's leadership, Chris engages and empowers people to execute their ideas. He will not dictate, but actively seeks your recommendations and insights. As he did with Nicole and with others, he takes chances on developing and stretching talent in new roles, and he's been rewarded time and again with overperformance. Chris also makes time for community engagement. He is a member of the Butler University Board of Trustees, serves on the boards of Arthur J. Gallagher and Company and the Medical College of Wisconsin, and on the board and executive committee of the Blood Centers of America. Also, as a leader of the Whitefish Bay Junior Dukes basketball program, he approaches coaching young basketball players the same way he approaches his role as CEO, demanding but caring, focused on development, not just winning. You can ask his son Mace later today how he feels about that. Chris and his wife Nicole live in Whitefish Bay with their 3 children, Mace, Sage, and Crew. Chris has always been and always will be devoted to family first and cites his father and brother as 2 of his greatest influences. So to recognize an innovator, transformational leader, and longtime friend whose vision has elevated Versity's impact on healthcare in our communities, please join me in extending a heartfelt congratulations and robust round of applause to the recipient of the 2023 Wisconsin Biohealth Business Achievement Award, Mr. Chris Miskell.
Oh my gosh. Not bad for a guy that flunked the CPA exam. That is a true story. So for those people that were connected to the Indiana CPA Society, look at me now. But I did learn, well, there's 4 parts to that exam. I did pass 1, but the problem is you got to pass at least 2 to move on. And I had to have a conversation with myself around whether or not I was committed or not, which has been a lesson for the rest of my career, that if you're not really in it, get out. And so I exited that one quickly. The one other thing I'll say is, like anything you read on social media or in the paper, the source, you have to take it with a grain of salt. I do pay Tony Watkins. He is my CFO. I have a feeling that performance review, I'm going to be encouraged to go big on that performance review. The last thing I'll just say, I had every intent of wearing a tie. Like, I was excited about the day. This is such an honor. I want to thank the team, Lisa and the team. I'm a little bit overwhelmed by it. I wanted to wear a tie. I brought it. I was in State Street in the garage trying to get this thing tied, but in the job I'm in now, I don't wear a suit and tie very often. I wear suits, maybe not ties. And apparently my neck is bigger than the last time I buttoned this thing. So my apologies. I couldn't get the tie on, but my college basketball coach would not be proud that I'm 250 bills right now. But anyway, I digress. So I'll just jump in here. This is what an amazing journey. I am truly humbled to be here in front of everyone. I think I'm just an ordinary guy, like just a guy, but that people have invested in and trusted. And I did meet Tony 20 years ago. Eli Lilly and Company is one of the greatest companies in the world. I believe that. I met Jaak and Tony there. We were working in a group called Corporate Finance and Investment Banking, so we were putting valuations on assets, whether they were companies or whether it was innovation, and whether or not we should bring things in or send them out. And like that accounting test, I quickly figured out that Tony was the smartest guy in the room, and there were a lot of guys like him that were really good at finance and discounted cash flow and modeling. And so I had to think, how do I get out of here without them figuring out that I don't really know what I'm doing? And so it was a great 2.5 years. There was a deal or two that got done, and eventually it kind of launched a career into more of the commercial side of the business, working through sales and marketing, an international career, working on big global brands, and understanding that if there's a draft launch label like that package insert that comes with your prescriptions, the amount of effort that all of you probably know that goes into what's on that package insert. I spent a big chunk of my life setting strategy for a key asset for Lilly to figure out how to do that. So innovation's really key and its core. I can't imagine doing anything but healthcare. My sister was a type 1 diabetic, and so I watched her go to the refrigerator and get Lilly insulin that literally, with every meal, was saving her life. So that's been the journey. Coming to Versity, it's always about an organization's stature for me. That's the very first thing: is it differentiated? Is it meaningful? And can you win? Quite honestly. And so I'm so grateful. Jaak Leonardi, I actually was probably the second choice on this one because Jaak worked at Baxter and he ran the U.S. hemophilia business at one point for Baxter. He also ran their global immunology business. And thankfully for me, at the point when they called him to see if he was interested, he said no, but talk to my friend. And that's what mentors do, is that they push you to go after things that maybe you don't think you can do on your own. Dale Kent's here as well. He was my board chair for my second, third, and fourth year as CEO, which was a really critical juncture. And I'll always remember, he taught me how to be a CEO in many ways. And at one point said, Chris, the only decision we really want to make as a board is whether we hire or fire you. Like, that's it. So, stop bringing us these decisions with like 5 different options. Just tell us what you want to do and we're going to back you up. And I appreciate his push and his trust and the judgment that not just me, but this leadership team has on key decisions. This is a team sport, and I'm never the smartest guy in the room, and that's the best thing because you can see people excel and flourish at what they do. At Versity, we firmly believe we're saving the lives that you love every single day. I'll tell a quick story, and if it's time for me to get off, you can tell me. But just a quick story. So last year, there was Stanford Blood Center. The blood centers across the country are very interconnected. More than 60% of the blood in the country is collected from independent blood centers like Versity Blood Center, Wisconsin, like the Stanford Blood Center. They had a very, very rare patient that was VEL negative. Now you may say, what does that mean? Basically, it was a mom that was rapidly hemolyzing and was in danger. A typical blood match wouldn't have saved her life. We have a rare donor network where there's a call that goes out to the blood centers around the country, and the unit that ultimately was the match for that mom was sitting on a shelf at Versity Blood Center. And so after the case workup, we were able to get the unit to her. She was stabilized. The month later, they said in a case workup that unit and then the units that came after were critical in saving her life. That's why we do what we do. And the investments in innovation, the fact that we're genotyping our donors and doing creative things in Brad's shop to make sure that moms like that woman can continue to live and raise their families, that's what gives us all the juice that we need. So for us here in Wisconsin, we cover 60 hospitals. If you're in southeastern Wisconsin and you're getting a transfusion, it's coming from us. We're integrated in the system, and we take great pride in the role that we play every single day behind the scenes when people really may not always realize that you can't manufacture blood in a lab. It can only come through us from humans that decide to make a decision to give something of themselves to save someone else's life. That is very meaningful work. We're really proud of the research expansion as well, and I'll start moving towards a close because I'm sure that you want to move on. But I think that the tech hub in Madison and the tech hub that's being built in Milwaukee and the synergy there, this state is great. I was conceived here. I wasn't born here. My brother and sister were. Another true story. My dad ran Sears stores, and so in 1974, before I was born, we got shipped off to Ohio. And so that's how we left here. But my parents, they educated here, they got married here. My older brother and sister were married here. So it's kind of weird that I'm the one of the whole family that's back in Wisconsin. But maybe it's because it's to finish our story and our legacy, to do something really special with this organization that's been here for 76 years. There have been so many amazing people that have been a part of Versity, and that torch is not going to hit the ground on my watch, I'll guarantee you that. And so everyone at this table, we're fired up to drive innovation. We're so proud that the state of Wisconsin saw the value on both sides of the aisle and earmarked $10 million for our research expansion. And what we're really going to do is build a house of hematology where there's nowhere in the United States where there's as many hematology researchers in so many disciplines in one spot. We have immunology, we have transfusion medicine, which is the safety of the blood. We have vascular biology and hemostasis, so we're looking at bleeding and clotting. We've got glycobiology, people looking at sugar. Anything you can imagine that you want to study. Our current chief scientific officer is a leukemia expert, so in line with personalized medicine, that's where he and a couple other of our researchers are focused, is in how do you get the right thing for the right patient at the right time. It's inspiring work, and I'm just proud to continue to try to move us towards saving more lives. So to everyone that's in this industry with us, we're in this together. Madison and Milwaukee can put this state on the map. We're bringing 100 jobs for that research expansion, and I'm so excited to watch all of the rest of you continue to build the tech hub here in Wisconsin. Thank you.
So, Tony, thanks for passing your CPA exam. Oh, you're not, though. Oh, man. Oh, wow. Wow, there's great trust then that you're in that position. Wow. Great leaders. What you heard Tony talking about, and even Chris, did you hear that? It's team, team, team. And that doesn't just come from basketball. That's what's inside. And it's never about the individual, right? You can't be successful when it's about the individual. And this, just listening to you talk about everyone else with the team, that's what makes great leaders. So thank you, and thanks for uplifting the community and for everything you've done. It's very impressive. All right. Now on to the Hector F. DeLuca Scientific Achievement Award. This award is named after Dr. Hector F. DeLuca, our first awardee in 2015, whose research dating back to the 1960s centered on understanding the metabolism and mechanism of actions of vitamin D and vitamin A compounds in the treatment of disease. He's been an influential researcher, educator, innovator, and has had a tremendous impact on the University of Wisconsin-Madison. As with the business achievement, we have had many outstanding awardees, and some of them are here today. Could Dr. Cook, Dr. Lee, and Dr. Mackey please stand to be recognized? So this year's awardee is Tom Grist. Okay, with all that you've been achieving in the world of imaging, I believe you need to join the Avengers. So, this is the new superhero uniting with Captain America, the Hulk, Iron Man, Black Panther, Wolverine, and your radiology lion, attacking the evils of disease. I did talk to Tom that he was okay that I could tease him. So I said, do you have a sense of humor? And I did find out there's a whole side to this guy that is not serious. And you really should stay at the end because we got quite the dance routine, and I saw you walking the dog with the yo-yo. So I think that would be a pretty good show at the end of the day. But anyway, back to reality, although there's a whole group of GE Healthcare people here that I also think would also say you're a superhero in the world of imaging. With that, and to tell us more, about Tom Grist, I would like to introduce Fred Lee, who will be presenting the 2023 Hector F. DeLuca Scientific Achievement Award.
Thank you, Lisa. Good afternoon. My name is Fred Lee, as you heard, and I'm a professor of radiology at UW. And it is truly a special and personal honor to be able to present this award today to my great friend and colleague, Dr. Thomas Grist. Tom has been a close friend of mine and a colleague for over 30 years. And we've worked together at UW, and I've had the pleasure of personally witnessing his impact on patients, our department, the university, and the state. So this is truly a special day. For those of you that don't know Dr. Grist, and seemingly everybody in Wisconsin already knows him, he's a professor of radiology, medical physics, and biomedical engineering, the John Jewell Professor, and the chair of the Department of Radiology at the University of Wisconsin, a position and a title that he's held for 18 years. As the chair of one of the largest departments at the university within the whole UW system, he's had a huge impact on the functioning of the university and even the entire state. But long before he became a leader, an academic leader, Tom was one of the world's leading MRI clinician scientists, and I'll tell you that story in just a minute. So Dr. Grist is a true Wisconsin success story. He grew up in Appleton, Wisconsin, where he was the Fox Valley Yo-Yo champion of 1972, I think, if I got that right. He grew up water skiing in Wapaka, and one of his goals in life was to become one of those, what is it, in the Dells, one of those water skiers or something like that. He failed that and had to become an MRI scientist and a radiologist instead. He went to college at Marquette University, where he pursued a degree in biomedical engineering, and it was one of the co-op programs where you worked a semester and you went to school for a semester, and his work assignment was at GE Medical. And during that time, GE was not interested in MR, was not doing MR. It hadn't really been invented. And so Tom rotated through many of the various departments of GE Medical. He then went to Duke University for medical school, or for residency. But during his time as a medical student at Medical College of Wisconsin, he had to earn some money in the summer. So he called up one of his old bosses at GE Medical and said, "Hey, do you have a job for me?" And Tom had just read an article in Science News about the development of this new and promising imaging technique called MR. And he said to his old boss, "Well, when are you guys going to start a program in MR?" And GE being GE, of course, they were a good 10 years behind everybody else. I never said that, I'm teasing. But his old boss said, "You know, funny you should ask. I've just been appointed as the first head of MR at GE." And then he had a little aside and said, "What do you know about MR?" And Tom said, "Well, you know, I read this article," and told him about the article, and the guy said, "You're hired." And so one of his first hires in GE for MRI. So during those summers, Tom was there when a lot of the initial discoveries in MRI happened. He worked on the development of surface coils, which he hand welded himself. I think they still do it like that, don't they? Is that right, GE Medical? And then he would go on to become one of the world's experts in MRI science, and is probably the singular world's expert in imaging of flowing blood with MR. If any of you have ever had an MR scan in your life, or one of your loved ones has had an MR, Tom's probably involved with that. He probably invented one of the pulse sequences that you or your loved one got. And so he's affected millions of lives throughout the world with his work in MR. After medical school, as I mentioned, Tom went to Duke University, which is one of the most competitive and finest radiology residents in the world, and came back to UW in 1991, where we became colleagues. He quickly rose up the academic ranks and was appointed as the department chair in 2005, and his academic career flourished during that time. He earned so many honors and awards, it would take me all afternoon to list them, but just to give you a flavor of that, his CV is 118 pages long, And when I asked ChatGPT this morning, it told me that that's over 1 pound of paper. And I didn't print it out because I'm environmentally conscious, but it has over 1 pound of paper. He has 17 issued or pending patents, thousands of presentations all over the world at the most prestigious meetings, and huge amounts of federal and industrial grant funding, equivalent to the GDP of several small countries. He's published 200 peer-reviewed papers and, again, lectured all over the world at the most prestigious societies. He's president of SCARD, which is the Society of Chairmen of Academic Radiology Departments, and so is considered the foremost chairman of radiology departments in the United States. As the radiology department chair, Tom directed a lot of his energy to improving the scientific and entrepreneurial infrastructure of the state and of the university. For example, one of Tom's fundamental observations was that you need to put clinicians and scientists together. And back in the day, the university hospital was located on University Avenue over here, and when the new university hospital was built, the old university hospital became a basic science research hub. And so all the basic scientists were located at the old hospital, and all the clinicians were at the new hospital. And these were a mile or so apart. And one of Tom's observations is that this is not ideal, and this is not how innovation and discovery happens. And so he worked closely with Governor Doyle, with the dean of our medical school, and with GE Medical, thank you very much, to provide WIMR, which is the Wisconsin Institute of Medical Research, a cutting-edge translational research facility that's located at the medical school and hospital here at UW. The WIMR research facility is responsible for thousands of discoveries and thousands of jobs and millions of dollars that have been put into the Madison and the Wisconsin economy. So lastly, to close on a personal level, for those of you that know Tom, he is an incredible leader. He's a humble servant leader who has a lot of wisdom, vision, and integrity. I've never worked with anybody like him before. Our medical school dean, Bob Golden, said it best. He remarked that Tom takes his job seriously, himself, not so much. Under Dr. Grist's leadership, our department is now considered one of the finest in the world. It's known worldwide for discoveries not only in MR, but in all sorts of subspecialties of radiology, and it's really considered one of the world's foremost departments. So with that, I'd like to introduce the man of the hour himself, Dr. Thomas Grist, and present to him the 2023 Hector F. DeLuca Scientific Achievement Award.
Thank you so much, Fred. And thank you. I stand before you really deeply honored and humbled today at the recipient of this Scientific Achievement Award on behalf of the Biohealth Summit. And Lisa, you didn't tell me that I would have to follow not only an inspirational leader, but a comedian and a star athlete. And all I can do is yo-yo tricks, and I have no yo-yo. So, receiving this award is not only an award for my work, but it really is a testament to the incredible collaborative spirit and dedication of the entire scientific community here in Wisconsin. And as I learned about prior award winners, in fact, they've all made tremendous contributions to human health. And I actually feel like a poser. And many of the prior award winners served as my colleagues, some of my teachers at the Medical College of Wisconsin, and other inspirational people in my life. And I am just one thread in this intricate tapestry we have here in biomedical imaging research and its opportunity to improve human health through personalized healthcare delivery in our great state. And I am tremendously excited not only about our past, but about our future potential in this area with potential designation as a tech hub. As I looked at the prior award winners, I also thought, wow, there must be something in the water from well number 12 over on the west side of Madison, because Fred and my wife Jean and I and Lynn Allen Hoffman, one of the other past award winners, live within 50 yards of each other. Jean says, well, don't say 50 yards. It sounds like the lots are really small. And they are. But my journey in the field of biohealth is really a Wisconsin story. And I'd say it's a tale of 5 big breaks and learning lessons. And the first break was when I was born and grew up in Appleton, Wisconsin. Anybody here from Appleton? All right. They're a quiet bunch, right? I'm the son of an engineer inventor, Franklin James Grist, who designed welders for Miller Electric Arc Welding Companies. And July 20th, 1969 was an incredibly important day and a proud day for our family. Does anybody recall what happened on that day? Moon landing, yeah, very good. And my father invented the welder that was able to weld the thin aluminum covering of the lunar lander. Prior to that, there was no technology that could stitch thin aluminum together like that. And that is when I learned of the power of academic private industry partnership, because one of his partners was an engineering professor here at UW that he and they developed a number of different technologies for that still are impactful in welding today. And so as an 11-year-old, when I was looking through my telescope to try to see the flag on the moon that night, I really felt extremely proud. The other lesson he taught me and has lived with me for my life is how you respond to failure. Because the same man, he's an engineer, he also had a side hustle. I bet you a lot of the engineers here have side hustles. And he was president of the country club, and he had been stung by a series of bartenders that were effectively stealing from the club by giving out drinks and stuff like that. And he knew how to design things with transistors. And he said, I'm going to design an automatic drink machine that takes the bartender out of the equation and link it to a cash register, all right? Well, this is in the 70s. It was a terrible flop. Except the parties, when they would wheel that drink machine into the living room and all the investors had a chance to push the martini button as many times as they wanted, that was pretty impactful. But that was but the company was a flop, except they learned how to make printed circuit boards pretty well. And hence was born the follow-on company, which was Plexus up in Neenah, Wisconsin, which makes most of the printed circuit boards for our MR scanners, and was the company that made the printed circuit boards for Fred Lee's company, New Wave. And so what I learned there is you never know, if you're just trying to do something good, even if it doesn't pan out, there might be another break. So my second break came as a young biomedical engineering student, as Fred mentioned, from Marquette University. And that's when I got the appointment with GE as a co-op engineer. And that started 45 years of a collaboration that included this, the ability for me to become involved in basically the development of MRI. And I think most importantly, together, my colleagues at GE and myself have built a really incredible strategic partnership based on trust. and collaboration between academics and industry. And I've learned so much from my colleagues at GE, and I've hoped I've contributed a little bit to your business and the impact it has on human health. The third break came when I was a medical student at the Medical College of Wisconsin. And I learned of a remarkable scientist there, James Hyde, who's a physicist who led the National Biomedical Electron Spin Resonance Center. And he had a technology called loop gap resonator technology for electron spin resonance, which is a related field to MRI. And he's a big deal. He was a very big deal in the field. And I met with him for lunch and proposed to use some of that technology for MRI. And he was willing to listen. That went on to help create and facilitate a field of imaging joints with MRI. And we started a company called Medical Advances, spun that out. And that facilitated a whole area of MRI that has been impactful in human health. What I learned there is how important it is, how important team science is. And Jim brought into the lab a Polish radio frequency engineer who he discovered at a TV repair shop in Milwaukee. And he was seeking asylum because he was the radio frequency engineer that designed radio transmitters that he would hook up to hot air balloons, float in the air, and broadcast the messages that Lech Walesa used to create and organize the strikes of the shipyard workers in Poland. This eventually brought the Soviet Union down. And Andrei Yasmanovich was this incredible RF engineer. He joined our team, and even though it was incredibly hard to understand him most of the time, it was amazingly effective, and it really taught me the importance of team science. The fourth break came when I was finishing my residency at Duke and came up here to interview. And Jean and I wanted to return to Wisconsin, and following my interview dinner with the department chair, I returned to the Weissman lab where Chuck Mistretta and Frank Korosek were doing an experiment on blood flow. And I was already interested in imaging blood flow, and so were they. And they had terrible images that they were getting these lousy images and they didn't really exactly know why. And I looked at them and I knew why. It's because Chuck was still wearing his Levi's, and the zipper on jeans is ferromagnetic, and that will destroy the MRI signal, okay? And so since Chuck had already exceeded the allowable time in the MRI scanner, and it was late at night by now, this time, I offered to take off my pants for the interview. And I got in the magnet, and Frank is an incredible post-sequence programmer and a partner in this enterprise for 30 years, and we got fantastic images. And so there, as I was standing in my underwear, I thought, yeah, I could work with these guys. And that led to a collaboration to the development of a personalized imaging approach to time-resolved MR angiography that allows us to get appropriately timed and personalized images of the blood vessels. Using this technique, it was called 3D tricks for time-resolved imaging of contrast kinetics. And Worf patented this, and we worked to commercialize it with GE. And they made it available to thousands of scanners to benefit millions of patients worldwide. And that was a particularly impactful time and a distinct competitive advantage for GE Healthcare at the time. So my fifth and final break came when I was appointed as the department chair here at UW. And my vision was to really scale up the type of interdisciplinary collaboration and teamwork that all of our speakers had mentioned, and scale that up so we could make impact beyond MRI and in other areas. And that's when we came up with this vision and collaboration with GE to build the Wimmer Imaging Sciences Center that, as Fred mentioned, co-located physicians and medical physicists. And I think the impact is less about my personal contributions during this stage of my life and more about the supporting and maybe starting up the people who are doing startups, like Wally Block, Chuck Mastretta, Fred Lee, and Scott Reeder. And I think this is the benefit of that shared commitment to patient-oriented research and translation to clinical practice. So I'm incredibly proud and grateful to be part of this vibrant biohealth community in Wisconsin, and I'm confident that together we can make an incredible difference and lots of strides in biohealth research, innovation, and personalized patient care. And once again, I'm deeply honored to receive this award and to share it with all of those who have been so instrumental in my journey. And thank you for your support, your commitment to science, and your dedication to a healthier, brighter future for us all. Thank you very much.
Okay, Chris, I mean, you guys got a routine going, right? I mean, this is, forget your current jobs. You're on the road, man. You guys are awesome. This is great. And still, I still think you're a hero here. I still think you should also consider it. But again, after I watched the video with the yo-yo, maybe it's yo-yo radiology lion. I mean, we got to add something to that. But great talk and wonderful stories. Thank you. Congratulations, Tom. So it's now like 1:20 around there. And at 1:30, we have 2 sessions.